everybody, welcome to Mel's Makeup Lounge, and today we are breaking some makeup rules, so stick around. Hi everybody, welcome to Mel's Makeup Lounge. My name is Mel, which means that you are in the Makeup Lounge. If you are a first-time viewer, welcome. I'm so happy you found my teeny tiny little channel. And if you're a return viewer, welcome back. Hope you're doing great. Today, I wanted to make a video about breaking some makeup rules. Now, you might be saying, wait a minute, I didn't think that there were any rules to makeup. And you're sort of correct. I mean, you're not going to be able to find like the big book of makeup rules. That doesn't exist like it does for, sports or something like that. But there are definitely some theories and some techniques that are followed that generally tend to be considered rules. Now, there have been rule breakers and there have been innovators in every age. And we have historical evidence that says that people have been wearing makeup in some form, adorning their bodies and their face with some kind of makeup, basically as long as human beings have existed on this planet. So obviously, there's going to be tons of different techniques and tricks and things that you can do that fall outside of the standard accepted sort of formulas that people often go by. Nothing is really new. It's all been done before, but I am going to show you some of my favorite ways to sort of step outside the box a little bit and make your makeup a little bit less formulaic. So if you'd like to see how I created this look and what rules I broke in the process, then stick around. The first rule that we're going to break involves color correcting. Now look at this green under my eye versus look at the green on my cheeks. This is why I say when it comes to color theory, throw it out the window when you're doing color correction. Our faces are so many different colors. They are different colors at different times of the year, depending on how much sun we might get, how tired we are, how anemic we might be. So color theory is absolutely valid, and I could do an entire video on color theory and just geek out about it for like an hour. But when it comes to color correcting, I say throw the rule book out the window, grab yourself a color correcting palette, and just play around. Mix shades. If you see on my right eye, I'm mixing multiple different colors, and look at how nicely that color corrected. So rule number one, forget about what colors you're supposed to put on different areas for color correction. Grab yourself a palette and just play around until you find out what works for your face. So this next rule breaking involves the order in which we apply our products. Instead of putting down my primer, then my foundation, and then my powder, and then my setting spray, I'm actually going to start with my setting powder. And I'm going to dust a very thin, light layer over my entire face. I'm using this powder from the Cream Shop, and it has this very, very lovely pink pearlescence. And the reason that I'm using this instead of a typical translucent setting powder is that I think it gives my face a really lovely glow. After I have the powder applied, I'm going to quickly spray with some setting spray, and then I'm going to make sure that that is nice and dried down. And then I'm going to apply my primer on top of the powder and setting spray. Now, this has been making the rounds on TikTok as a makeup hack. It's not exactly a makeup hack, it's more of an older technique that you just don't really see quite as often anymore. I believe, and I could definitely be wrong, but I think that it started as a technique for screen makeup. Our next rule to break involves contour. Some people insist contour has to be done before your foundation. Other people insist it has to be done after. And I'm going to do two different things on different sides of my face to show you that it really doesn't matter. It comes down to personal preference. This first technique that I'm doing is called underpainting. That's when your contour goes underneath your foundation. And you'll notice a little bit later that when I'm doing an underpainting look, I'm going to be using a contour shade that's slightly deeper than it would be if I were putting this over top my foundation. That's just to make sure that that contour really shines through the foundation. I also like to do a little bit of contour around my lips, and it's not a technique that I see very, very frequently, but it is something that I personally enjoy. And it just goes to show that you can do whatever the heck you want. It all depends on your face shape and what you want to highlight. Remember that contour is enhancing natural shadows, bringing some things forward and sending other things back. So it really all depends on your actual underlying bone structure. The next rule that we're going to break is that you need to find your perfect foundation shade match. I say forget that. Find your perfect foundation finish. You can always adjust the shade or the tone of your foundation by mixing different foundations together, as I've done here. But what you really can't change at home on your own is the finish of your foundation. So pick a foundation based on your preferred finish, and then just sort of be your own chemist and mix up your foundation to get that perfect shade match. The other rule break that I wanted to highlight is this idea that you have to find the perfect brushes for different things. People will spend insane amounts of money on makeup brushes, and sometimes they are very, very worth it. There are some very specific makeup brushes that I have that I would not trade for the world. They are worth their weight in gold. But otherwise, I absolutely love applying. Frankly, I love applying most products with my fingers. If you like using makeup brushes, then by all means use them. But there is no rule that says that you have to use a brush. Use your fingers for whatever you want. Yes, it might mean that you have to spend a little bit of extra time blending, but for me, the effect that I get when I use my fingers is so absolutely worth the extra blending time. I'm also going to do the contour on the other side of my face so you can see what the two different techniques look like side by side. For this one, I'm using a little bit lighter of a shade because I don't have that layer of foundation over top. This one is by Makeup by Mario, and I absolutely love it. I love this brush too. This is one of the places where I actually really do love using a brush. Our next rule to break is the rule that says that you put your setting spray on after everything is done. I like to put my setting spray on a sponge and gently sort of buff out the foundation. Well, in this case, foundation and contour. And I think it gives me an even longer lasting finish than when I just wait till the very, very end and do my setting spray then. You can also layer your setting spray by applying it at different stages of the process. You don't have to do it once and then you're done. You can spray as many times as you feel like you need to. Our next rule is involving concealer, and it's not necessarily a rule, but more of diverting from a current trend where we are doing these very heavy, thick layers of concealer to provide highlight. And you don't actually have to do that to make your face look highlighted. I'm just taking my concealer, and first I'm spot concealing any little blemishes that I might want to cover up. And then what I'm going to do is take a teeny tiny bit of concealer on the back of my hand and very, very lightly buff it in with circular motions. I'm going to try my best to work around the little concealer spots because I actually want those to just sort of sit on my skin and dry down. I'm not going to blend those out quite yet. Our next rule to break is the rule that says that cream products have to go on your face before powders do. We're actually going to flip that to create a beautiful soft ombre blush effect. I'm going to start with this powder blush in like a ballet slipper pink, and I'm applying it to the apples of my cheeks, and I'm also going to take it pretty high up, like right underneath my eyes. That's also going to help avoid that very stripy looking concealer. I'm using these blush drops by M Cosmetics, and I'm going to roll them between my hands. That's going to make sure that everything is mixed really well, and it's also going to warm the product. Now, a lavender blush like this isn't something that I think initially looks fantastic on me, but because we layered a powder blush in that soft pink, that color that I know looks really nice with my skin tone, and then we put this sort of more vibrant color over top, it sort of eases the transition and it makes a color that I wouldn't necessarily normally wear a little bit more subdued and a little bit more manageable. You can also use cream or liquid blushes as lip color. It's not exactly the color that I'm necessarily going for this look, but I just wanted to show you guys that you can. I'm going to be using this highlight and contour palette from Ofra Cosmetics to show you guys that the next rule we're breaking is the rule that says that you need to use products based on what their intended use is for. Now, I love using contour shades for my eye looks, and in my previous video, I actually used cream contour. So if you haven't seen that one, you definitely need to go check it out. Now, there is a caveat to this rule, and that is that certain pressed pigments are not safe for use in certain areas. Like there are some pressed pigments that are not safe for the eyes because they may stain your eyelids, some products that are not safe for the lips. So you do kind of have to do a little bit of due diligence to make sure that you're using products that are safe. But aside from that, just because something says that it's for the eyes or for the cheeks or for the lips, just forget about that. Toss that right out the freaking window. Use whatever you want, wherever you want. I'm also going back in to my technique of using my fingers just to show you guys that you can even use your fingers on smaller areas like the eyelids and still achieve a beautiful look. Right at the very end, I will take a brush and just make sure that everything is nice and smooth and seamless, because I did apply with my fingers. So we'll just pop a little bit of highlight as well right under the brow bone, and that's all I'm doing for highlight. I'm not highlighting my face. Our next rule is that when you do eyeliner, you have to bring it across your entire eye, and that is just not true. Not only is it not true, but for some people, myself included, I think it actually looks kind of bad. So I'm going to start by tight lining my upper lash line, and then I'm going to take my liquid liner and just create the outer V. And that's all I'm going to do with the liquid liner. I am not bringing that liner anywhere near the center of my eye or beyond. My lower eyes tend to be a little bit droopy. I always say I have like droopy puppy dog eyes. So my eyes already kind of get dragged down just by their own natural shape. So I find that when I bring my eyeliner all the way into the inner corner of my eye, it adds heaviness on my eyes, and what I want is to achieve a lifted look. When I do my liner On the very outer wing, it gives me a much more lifted shape to my eyes. Our next rule to break is that you need to set your entire face, or at the very least, you must set your T-zone. And that's just absolutely not true. First of all, I don't know where we got this idea that shine is bad. So I'm just going to take a little bit of powder in the very palm of my hand and dust a tiny little bit around my mouth and my nose. And that's absolutely the only place that I'm going to be powdering. I think that we all need to start embracing the shine, personally. Continuing our theme of breaking product placement rules, we are going to be using eyeliner as lip liner. I absolutely love using eyeliner as lip liner because a lot of times my eyeliners will last longer on my lips than my lip liners do. And it's also perfect if you're someone like me who struggles to find like the perfect brown nude. Try checking in the eyeliner and you might actually find your perfect lip liner shade there. I'm also going to go back into that Ofra contour palette to show you guys that you can actually use a powder on your lips to sort of set and also smoke out your lip liner. In a previous video, I showed you guys how to use liquid lipstick as a primer for your eyeshadow, but now we are going to turn eyeshadow into lipstick. I'm just taking a little bit of clear gloss, and then I'm going to take a color from this absolutely stunning Saints Angel Sinners palette. Now, I know the owner of this brand, and she is so sweet and kind and wonderful. Look how beautiful this palette is. So I actually feel a little bit bad about scraping some of this off, but I'm just going to mix this into my lip gloss and create my own custom lip color. So that was our video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments what makeup rules you like to break, and also tell me, are there any makeup rules that you absolutely will not break? Like, do you have that one tried and true tip that you're like, nah, this is my go-to, I'm never doing anything else? Let me know in the comments if you try to do this look. Tag me in all your pictures on social media at Mel's Makeup Lounge. As always, my little Cocoberry link will be in the description if you want to pick up some loungewear at a little bit of a discount, and I do get some of that money back. I think I don't know 100%, I'm not 100% sure, but if I do get it back, then I truly do appreciate you helping to support the channel. They're not a sponsor, they're just a company that I absolutely love so much and buy from so much that I now have my own discount code. It's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun today, and I will see you next time in the Makeup Lounge. Goodbye. Now, if you use a lip gloss, obviously you're going to have a glossy finish, but if you want something that's more of a matte, opaque finish, then just use some balm. And you can literally use any powder. So every time that you buy an eyeshadow, not only do you have a shadow, you also have a lip color now.